What's up, Silver Stackers? Thank you so much for being here. This is Silver Slayer. Before we jump into this crazy situation with JPMorgan manipulating the price of silver and what's going on in their trial, I want to share something. Believe it or not, I found the first ever silver unboxing video that I ever did. Now, this was before my Silver Slayer channel. This was on a whole separate YouTube channel that only has 13 subscribers. I made this channel probably 8-9 years ago, and even in the video it says 8 years ago. In the beginning I say, hey guys, this is my first 2 weeks of silver stacking. I did an unboxing, I showed my silver stack, and I even showed at the end of the video the gold that I scrapped out of cell phones. It is the funniest, most priceless video, but also pretty cool and interesting just to see what I had back then and like my perception of the market, because it's so much different today. It's so good. So I'm gonna make a reaction video showing that video either tonight or tomorrow. Stay tuned because man, I'm so glad I found that video. So anyways, JPMorgan, we all know, is the shadiest, most corrupt bank. Been caught manipulating the price of silver time and time again. Now we have another article talking about this corrupt bank manipulating the price, but this trial is different. It's much more interesting, to say the least, because the title says that the trial shows too much deceit in play for the little guy. Now they say the little guy because silver is a very small market compared to gold. It's easier to manipulate. So just noting that silver is an easier target because it's very easy to manipulate the price by spoofing, which, by the way, if you don't know what spoofing is, it's when bankers or whales, people with a lot of money, go on a market, they'll go on an exchange and they'll place a whole bunch of buy or sell orders for like millions of dollars. And I'm talking like it could be hundreds or even thousands of orders. And they'll cancel the order before it goes through. They'll cancel the buy or sell order before it goes through. Now, what's so big? Why is that a big deal? They cancel the order anyways. It's a big deal because then everyone else on the exchange sees the volume and thinks that, oh, a whole bunch of people are buying silver, and then they, in return, invest off of false information, off of false numbers. So they're manipulating the market to their degree, and then they profit from it. Now, the trickiest part about this is you're allowed to cancel buy and sell orders. So how can you trace someone doing it purposely with ill intent? Well, I remember the exact announcement when the judge said they're going to start cracking down, because they used to give these banks a slap on the wrist. I remember the exact article that I was like, wow, they're finally going to start cracking down and getting more serious. I was like, I don't know if this is true or not. I guess we'll see. And what do you know? A couple months after that, maybe like half a year, JPMorgan got caught, had to pay a $900 million fine. And then a couple of years later, about probably 2 years ago, I've been covering this situation for a very long time now on this channel. 3 of their employees got sent to prison. And recently, I think 1 or maybe even another one got sent to prison for racketeering. So this situation just keeps getting worse and worse. And it's not just JPMorgan. And by the way, they're looking back decades. They said thousands and thousands of instances of these orders of spoofing taking place. The Dutch Bank and Merrill Lynch also got caught, and it is, is in trial for this. But anyways, prosecutors accused 3 former JPMorgan Chase employees of ripping off the precious metals futures market with fake orders. And they actually got sent to prison, not jail. Like these guys are in prison now. Imagine being behind a computer screen and knowing you're only going to get a slap on the wrist, or, you get a little fine, but then realizing, hey, I might actually get sent to prison. That might make you second guess your decision, nowadays at least. I'm so glad that they're getting punished to this extent, because it is serious. Spoofing, or the placement of sell and buy orders one never intends to honor, has been illegal since the Dodd-Frank Act of 2010. While regulators' actions might be assuring, spoofing may still exist at some point, and it does. You know, this is always going to go on. Anytime there's money involved, there's going to be corrupt, shady people behind the scenes taking advantage of it. Now, the ongoing trial of 3 former JPMorgan Chase employees charged with making fake orders been divided the precious metals trading community. One of them believes that legal action couldn't have come a day sooner, as the authorities are finally acting in a sign that they won't tolerate such fraud anymore, regardless of who you are. And that's exactly what I was mentioning earlier, is that was right after they announced they're going to start cracking down harder, and then that happened. The other end of the community argues that the prosecution has come at least 2 decades late, as demand for action is almost daily. Allegedly manipulated trade marks a lost opportunity to set things right at the time, which I can also agree. They've been doing this for decades, and nowadays silver's price is so manipulated, the system is just so rigged that it is too late almost. They should have been cracking down, paying these banks, $900 million fines years and years and years ago. Like they said, it's been illegal since 2010, but these banks, I'm talking a slap on the wrist, $30 million fines. $30 million fines. Then they crack down and pay almost $1 billion and send people to prison. The vulnerability of precious metals futures to rigging has been laid open, and those who fear getting caught in it someday might never get in it. And that's true. You might never get in it if you know that you're going to get sent to prison. So this guy says, he's a senior market strategist. He says, I'm surprised it took this long for the ex-JPMorgan traders' trials to come to court. And yeah, I remember, I've been talking for years now that these guys got sent to prison. The hearing for the former JPMorgan employees opened last week, almost a year after the commencement of another spoofing trial of 2 former precious metals traders from Bank of America and Merrill Lynch unit, or Bank of America's Merrill Lynch unit. Right, like I said, Merrill Lynch, the Dutch bank, and JPMorgan are the top 3, but I'm sure many other bankers are doing this as well. Between the 2 proceedings, allegations of price manipulation have primarily continued to dodge the gold futures market on the COMEX. And that's because gold is a much bigger market than silver, much bigger market. Of particular note was an incident on August 9th when the COMEX gold trading during Asian markets ahead of its New York Open dropped some 4% within a span of 15 minutes below $1,700 an ounce. It is termed a flash crash. And that's what, when these markets flash crash, that's spoofing, right? You'll see the price of gold or silver do something very, very out of the blue, but then it corrects like a day later. That's a bank that did that on purpose, just profited millions of dollars, and then the market goes back to normal. So anyways, the World Gold Council explained it as a freak occurrence. It's not a freak occurrence, that's people manipulating the price of the markets. When there is generally less liquidity in global markets across all assets. That was their explanation, trying to cover up spoofing. Avoiding any mention of manipulation, the council added that the lightning drop likely initiated by some stop-loss orders that were probably situated around the $1,700 level, and this created a snowball effect causing additional selling. No. I mean, what did they say? A 4% drop in 15 minutes? No. That was banks illegally manipulating the price, cashing out millions of dollars, maybe even billions of dollars, and then the market corrects. So, however, to traders who were long gold and lost big by dumping their positions that day, unsurprisingly, it looked and felt like another act of spoofing. The ongoing trials in court will hopefully provide revelations to more real-time incidences of spoofing, which is finally being brought to light. And senior market strategist Eli Tesfaye added that, I honestly think this trial is a positive development and really way overdue regardless of the final outcome, which is to be determined. This is no different than robbing banks, so to speak. He also disputed the notion that the psychological damage done to the trade by the relative inaction of regulators in prior years was irreversible. I'm not sure I agree 100% that retail traders will be discouraged from participating in precious metals futures trading after. And that's another good point. Is like, if you know the price is rigged, then why get into it in the first place? If you know going into silver, I mean, at least on the COMEX side of things, right? Because physical silver stackers, we don't really care about this because we're investing for a whole different reason, right? We understand the inevitable dollar collapse. We're in this for wealth preservation, the intrinsical aspect. But if you're in this for the COMEX or something, and you know the price is rigged, you know that's like trying to gamble when you know it's rigged against you. Gamblers and investors are completely two different people. So I'm pretty sure that an investor thinking they're gambling or knowing they're gambling won't do that. Gamblers will always gamble. Investors gambling, they won't. They'll put their money somewhere else. So if anything, they will be more confident that that those who try to deceive or these or try deceptive practices will be brought to justice. The severity of the punishment to be determined would signal to the market participants that these types of practices are not to be tolerated. What happens in the spoofing trial would have far-reaching implications on the global markets and exchanges as well. That aligns with what Better Markets, a Washington nonprofit, says, the group which advocates for stronger financial regulation called the former JPMorgan traders trial a potential game changer because of the racketeering statute applied by prosecutors to seek harsh sentences if the defendants are convicted. The stark cast and revelations from the trial have provided stunning accounts so far. JP Morgan's former global precious metals desk head, Michael Nowak, precious metals trader Greg Smith, and salesperson Jeffrey Rufo are on the dock. Nowak, once the most powerful person on the gold market, made hundreds of millions of dollars in profit for JP Morgan, trading everything from silver to palladium over a decade. Now the court is told he and his two former colleagues generated thousands of spoofing trades. Like I was mentioning, thousands, which prosecutors say were used for years to generate illicit gains for his employer and its top clients. It's the most aggressive criminal trial to date that targets spoofing and has been exposing the inner workings of a prestigious bank that has long dominated the market for gold. The government says Nowak's business operated as a criminal enterprise, manipulating prices from 2008 to 2016 by placing thousands of trade orders without the intention to ever execute them. The three men are among the most prominent players yet to face prison for price manipulation if convicted. Prison, folks. Nowak, also a board member of the body that runs the London gold market, faces 15 counts, including commodities fraud, conspiracy to engage in racketeering and price manipulation, and spoofing. Trader Greg Smith faces 13 counts, while Jeffrey Rufo, a salesperson, faces 2 counts. A fourth defendant, trader Christopher Jordan, is scheduled to be tried separately on November 28th. All have pleaded not guilty. I mean, obviously, because you're allowed to cancel orders. So there's a lot of gray area, and they definitely have they have an opportunity to try to, at least play some angle. The trial of the former JP Morgan employees come after years of U.S. government investigation on price manipulation in precious metals that saw JP Morgan pay $920 million, like I said earlier, to settle spoofing claims 2 years ago. With $330 billion of notion value in precious metals derivatives contracts at the end of March, the New York-based bank accounts for 67% of the positions put through U.S. banks. Data shows that it holds 3 times as much as the next biggest player, Citigroup. Separately, chat logs, and this is funny, they actually showed, I think I saw on WhatsApp, their conversations between these two. I covered it in my last video talking about this. It's so funny to see how these guys, they're joking about it. Like, you guys ready? We're about to crash the market. It shows them actually in this group. There was a group of 4 or 5 people. It's insane the way they played this game. They had so much power and control. So anyway, separately, chat logs introduced as evidence by prosecutors at last year's spoofing trial of former Merrill Lynch traders show one of them, Edward Basis, bragging about how easy it is to manipulate prices. This sort of testimony that the trade structurally is built for this kind of deception could keep new retail investors away. I really believe the exchanges and regulatory bodies had really put controls in place all ready to flag these types of instances of spoofing. But really, that doesn't seem to be the case. I represent a retail commodity futures broker, generally the little guy, the account that's worth $25,000 to $1 million. I don't want to see large operations exploit the little guy. I don't think spoofing would go away after this, although I'd like to think the exchange, and others are doing a great job of being able to find these repetitive patterns and hold that to do harm accountable. However, Strabel also stressed that some of his clients had been unnerved by the sheer scale of deceit in the precious metals unearthed by the revelations in court. To make this point, he shared the anecdote. I had some firm requesting information on precious metals positions after an article I wrote. And I reached out to the person and said, silver's at a low price. Would you likely be active, or would you like to be actively involved on the future side? And the guy goes, no, the silver market's rigged. So that guy will potentially never be a client. And he could have been. It really hurts us from a marketing standpoint. We won't be able to convert them into retail clients for precious metals no matter how hard we try. And that's a good point. It's really it's damning because a lot of people could get potential. I mean, silver is much more volatile than gold. That means there's more opportunity, right? There's bigger gaps for position to profit. And not only that, looking at it from a silver stacker side, the physical silver stacker, that's the important part. Like the whole goal of my channel is to at least get people into precious metals, even if it's gold. By the way, that 5-gram gold bar deal yesterday, 5 grams of gold at spot price with free shipping. So literally whatever the price of gold is, that's what you pay. No other fees attached. You pay that and it's sent to your house, even with free shipping. First 100 people that bought it got that deal. After that, a deal of $5 off was rewarded, which is still going on. The first 100 slots sold out in less than 30 minutes. I thought it was going to take a day or two. It sold out in 30 minutes, guys. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. It really shows, I guess, the power of my channel and my platform. Like, I could have put money that it would take at least 24 hours. We're talking about 5 grams of gold, not just an ounce of silver. But anyways, where were we at? Okay, so, oh yeah, we're done with the article. So anyways, I'd like to pass a question to you. And by the way, if you aren't already subscribed, if you at least think that my channel is worth subscribing for, I never ask you to subscribe in the beginning of the video or like the video in the beginning because I'm just telling you to do something that you don't even know. You just met me or you just found my channel. You don't even know what I have to offer yet. Why would I ask you to subscribe in the first 10 seconds of a channel that you just found that you've never even seen before? That makes no sense. So now that I've offered you content, now that I've offered you something to subscribe to, if you would like to subscribe and you think it's worthy, then please do. I post unboxing videos, I post silver stacking strategies, I post giveaways, all different types of stuff. What's happening in the economy, price overlooks, everything. Post it all here, and you'll always get the most up-to-date news in the world of precious metals. So yeah, if you want to subscribe, please do. Like the video if you thought it was educational, informational, or at least entertaining. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for my reaction video to my first ever silver video or unboxing. It's so good. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.